Hey guys, Brett Tremblay back with another Candid Convo. And today I'm especially excited to have one of our very first clients at Get Staffed Up and a longtime friend of mine. In fact, Vanessa and I go so far back. We used to share office space when each one of us were baby lawyers. And so
I
Vanessa
was not a baby
Vasquez.
lawyer, my friend. You were a baby lawyer.
Well, we were starting our journeys, and now our firms look much different. So, but please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do and who you are.
Thanks so much, Brett. It's great to see you. I'm Vanessa Vasquez from the Vasquez Lara Law Group, and my firm handles primarily family law.
And you're in Miami.
I am in Miami, Florida.
Awesome. Primarily family law. So, do you focus on, there's a lot of areas within family law.
We handle everything related to family law. So that's going to be divorces, paternities, post judgment, if there's an issue with a final judgment that you need to modify or enforce, prenuptial agreements, which are gaining in popularity lately, postnuptial agreements, and domestic violence.
So, you said prenups are gaining popularity recently.
It just feels like one of those things where we're getting a lot more calls for prenuptial agreements now. So I don't know if it's just that people are doing them more often, or realizing the importance, or our name is just getting farther out there, with respect to them. But it feels like in the last couple of years, I've done so many more prenups than I did in the prior 15 years of my career.
Interesting. I thought about 15 years ago that they really got popular. So who knows? Maybe you guys are just doing such a good job, Vanessa, and you are growing your firm. I mean, talk about that. Tell us about your staff matrix, because I know you guys have one virtual assistant or staffer, as we call them, through us. You just signed up for another one, and then you have a lot of people in-house as well.
Yeah. So right now we have two associate attorneys. So we have three attorneys total, including myself. We have two paralegals. We have one law clerk right now. And we've just hired a fantastic girl to be our new office manager because I am finding a need to, to help manage everything in the office. And a great file clerk slash assistant. So besides our virtual staffer, who is not only doing our sort of like our receptionist calls, she's also now taken over our former one of our staff members left not that long ago, and Robley, our virtual staffer, has been able to take over some of the tasks that she was doing, which was client relations.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So first you hired Roble to answer your phones, I think only.
Yep.
And then at some point she added setting consultations, and now you gave her even more. And what we tell people is when you have let's say a third party reception company, first of all, they rarely pronounce your name correctly, especially if you're in Miami, right? And people know when they're calling and getting a service that's answering, because it's never the same person, and they say your name differently every time, and they never really know what's going on, even the good ones. And so, we tell people for all those reasons, it's about the same price anyway. But then your full-time virtual assistant through us is going to have more capacity. So you're going to get way more mileage. And I think that has been your experience as well, right?
Before we had Robe, we had an answering service that was kind of like a backup service. So really only calls that were not picked up in-house kind of made their way to the service. And we had so many issues with them. And the name thing, it's funny that you say it because that was almost, I think, one of the ones that sort of straws that broke the camel's back. We used to have an associate here, a good friend of ours now, whose name is Sama. And she goes by Sam, and they somebody called for her, and they actually said nobody by that name was there. And so that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, where I was like, okay, this is definitely not working. And that service is actually local, so they didn't have as many issues with with the Spanish name pronunciation. But it's like you said, it's different people all the time. They don't know your firm, they don't know the people, and it really became something that was a glaring hole. So once I figured that I wanted to have I wanted to have a receptionist in house, we started the search. And to say that we were underwhelmed by the candidates, leaves much to be desired. We had scheduled working interviews with several candidates. One candidate called us the day he was supposed to be here and said, "Oh, I forgot I had a funeral today." Oh, you forgot you had a funeral.
That's
Okay. Then we said, okay, well, just come in tomorrow. The next day he calls, "Oh, I forgot that I had to do, I don't even remember what the second excuse was." We were like, "Thanks, but no thanks." We had another one that we scheduled. She never showed up at all, didn't call, didn't show up. So that kind of became a frustrating, situation because we recognize that unfortunately receptionist is sort of a low man on the totem pole. It's not a very lucrative, type of job when you start. And it kind of just became something where it was very frustrating. So at that time, you guys had started to get staffed up, and I said, "Well, what does it look like? And are you able to get somebody that speaks Spanish? Because obviously, we have a quite a big part of our clientele is Spanish speaking." And you guys did such a good job that we hired Roble, and we haven't looked back. And every time I see posts online and Facebook that talk about, "Oh, which of these answering services are best?" I'm like, you need a full-time staffer that's going to cost you the same as a service, but you're going to have them 40 hours a week. And, and that's really been amazing and fantastic for us.
Yeah, and you sent us quite a few clients as well, and I've seen your post. Thank you. But I want to point out that you're not the type of person that would hang on to an employee like Roble or send us business if it wasn't really good for you. I mean, like some people think, "Oh, well, these two are friends, they know each other, of course they work together." But I know for a fact, Vanessa, you're not like that. You stick up for yourself, and if someone's not performing, you're going to let that be known, and you're going to make good decisions for your firm.
And I mean, I think that the fact that I just asked you for a second staffer definitely shows that, that I believe in what you're doing, and that I feel strongly about being able to, continue to grow in this way, because it's such a great way of, not increasing our footprint. I mean, I have a beautiful office, but, at some point I'll run out of space if I only bring in people, in-house. And the talent that you guys are able to get at the prices that outsource is able to get me, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Thank you for saying that. A few things I wanted to unwind that you said. You talked about the frustrating process of hiring. It's something that we don't talk to that many people about. It's one of those, like, we kind of gloss over it because people don't bring it up, but hiring for a receptionist is one of the most frustrating things you'll ever go through, because let's be fair to people. If we want to pay $10 an hour because that's what we think the market rate is, and that's what we think, maybe even 12, 13, whatever, that's still not enough for someone to make a good living. So those people are always going to have one foot in, one foot out, looking for their next opportunity to make more money. And if we're being honest with ourselves, as they should, unless it's somebody who's retired and just kind of bored, everyone has the right to look for better opportunities for their families. And so here domestically, it's such a hard position to recruit for and fill, and it's for lots of businesses. It's just a never ending, just turn, like just a wheel, right? You got a new person, new person, new person, they're in, and then the next month they're out.
And they tend to be, not have the work ethic, the work, sort of commitment that, that's needed in that kind of important position. Because at the end of the day, what my clients talk about really, they tell me how fantastic she is. She knows our clients. We do office meetings. After we became sort of semi-virtual, I'm back in my office part-time, but after pandemic started and we went fully virtual, she was in our office meetings every single day. So not only does she know our clients because she's the one that picks up the calls when they call, but now she also even knows their cases because she's sitting in our case management meetings every morning. So she's, when they call and they ask, "Oh, what happened with this?" She was at the meeting where it was discussed that, opposing counsel hasn't sent it yet. So she doesn't need to schedule it with a paralegal, with an attorney. She doesn't need to, have to, let me find out for you. She knows because she was at the meeting and she knows exactly what's going on with that case. And she's tied into our case management Excel sheet, our Google sheet, where there's a status on every single file. So she's completely plugged into the office in a way that, the receptionists tend to not always have all of the skills in order to be as tied into everything that's happening, at any given moment.
Yeah, and that's important that you say that. I love that you made that move because the more you include your virtual employees or your remote employees as part of your firm culture, the better it's going to be. And that's something that I even had to learn over time. So if people are wondering, because a lot of the requests we get are for personal assistants, executive assistants, marketing coordinators, probably, we have a handful, but not as many as I would think because people just automatically say, let me go with an answering service. But
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer because, you have this person answering phones, setting consultations, and you mentioned 3 or 4 more things they're doing, all for a price of what you would have to pay, a receptionist, but a reception company. But tell us, what's it like to have your phones answered in another country? Is that a problem or is it simple?
So it really isn't. I mean, we have voice over internet, telephone service. So we literally sent Roble a handset. Before we sent her the handset, our system is online as well. So she was able, with just having headset plugging into the program that our voice over internet provider already gives us, and we send her, the phone just to make it even easier, where she's able to just, dial literally 101, 102, and she dials straight into the extension for everybody in our office. So nobody realizes, our clients don't realize that she's not here. And we don't realize, even almost that she's not in the next room because she literally calls and, she's one extension away. So we transfer calls to her. She transfers calls to us in the same exact manner that a receptionist sitting at the front desk would.
Yeah, and I think that's a point that a lot of people are surprised about. It's just a hold 1 second, 101 transfer, and it's just as fast as if they were in the office next to you, even though they're in, could be Mexico, Central America, or South America. It's crazy.
One of the other benefits is that there have been times like when we had, the hurricane scare, or when we've had our internet go out, or when we've had, any issues with our internet service where it doesn't affect her. She's not here. So, she's able to take on and manage our service, even when we're having issues. So that's been a really great help because sometimes, and especially when the hurricane came and we kind of had to lock up the office, the hurricane wasn't coming towards Florida at the same time. It was potentially going to Mexico. So, it's kind of like a swapping. We're in trouble now, and then, she might have been in trouble later, but it kind of allowed us to be able to really manage that well because she wasn't under the same conditions as we were.
Lower overhead, geographic diversity, which can help in a lot of situations. And she's just a fantastic team member, right? I mean, you really value her as a person.
Yep. I mean, we have team meetings where we go and everybody nominates people on our firm values. And Roble has won multiple times.
That's really awesome. So look, just to recap, tell us all the things that Roble does for you in kind of a rapid manner, if you will. Answers phones, et cetera, et cetera. What does she do for you?
So she is our primary phone answerer. She currently does schedules and does our case evaluations so that consultations can be scheduled. She handles any client that needs information on a file that doesn't require a legal representative to answer the question. She answers the questions. She downloads all of our service emails and saves them into the corresponding clients' files. She contacts the clients whenever we need anything. So if we need discovery, if we need any information, anything, any kind of client contact that again doesn't require a legal representative, she reaches out, she gets the information, and she passes it along to, the staffer that needs it. So off the top of my head, those are all the sort of top.
So for $18.50 a month, because that's the price for a bilingual administrative virtual assistant, you get a full-time, basically receptionist, intake coordinator, file clerk, and almost legal assistant. And you don't have a small firm either. You have a good sized firm, but for that flat price every month, she's doing all those things for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, I'm very glad that you took the leap with us, because early on, I remember, hey, Vanessa, we got this new thing going on. Try us out. We need to get a few clients, and then we're really gonna build the systems, and that's what we've done. So thank you. But it paid off, because you found a rock star, and that's really what we hang our hat on, is finding awesome virtual assistants full time for our clients. And the thing that I want to point out, that if you take away anything from this video, it's that Vanessa doesn't treat her virtual or remote team members as if out of sight, out of mind. She has them in the morning meetings, the office meetings, and really, ingratiated them into the firm so that they're a team member who even wins, Employee of the Week awards, for example. So it's fair to say that you're doing it the right way.
I like to think so. I mean, I think that you guys, whatever you're doing with recruitment, it must be working, because I already received, a potential dreamer for my personal executive assistant, who's going to be handling only my crap. And
Good.
I asked if I could, almost do like not a working interview, but I wanted to be able to. I have my interview scheduled with her tomorrow. And I asked your staff if I could, hey, can I send like a test? And I'm planning a vacation at the end of this month. And I literally sent her something that I needed to figure out, because these are the kind of things that I want her doing. And I was like, 3 tasks. I want a list of all the RV campgrounds in Charlotte. I want a list of the RV campgrounds in Asheville. And I want the 4-star hotels in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I think she didn't have the assignment for even an hour, because I sent it to get stepped up. And I think an hour later, I had an Excel sheet with what's in Charlotte, what's around Charlotte, what's in Asheville, what's in Raleigh. I mean, it was fantastic.
It's funny you bring that up, because we're going to have some announcements soon about going completely virtual and having mobile offices. So I may need those the RV lists from you when appropriate, probably like October. So stay tuned. But B, thanks. Let's end on that note. Even though your office is humming along, everyone needs a personal or executive assistant. That's why we say delegate your way to freedom. Because if you would have had to do that task and you would have spent an hour and a half, that's an hour and a half you didn't make, do better for your clients, make more money for the firm, give a bonus to a staff member. I mean, there's just so many things that your people do themselves that prevent them from taking the next step.
Like I told you, I watched one of your videos and I was like, I really need to get on it and get myself that personal assistant. And based on what I got back just on the test, I am just, overflowing with all of the things that I'm going to be delegating to her.
I love it. I love it. Look, that's why you're a dream client, because you do connect things and you're always a pleasure to work with. Happy for you and your success. And thank you so much for joining the Candid Convos. I had fun today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.